Hey everyone, so back with another blog, here to share some results. 3 months in, I did my blood work last Saturday. As I told you guys, my last blog, got my cholesterol checked and my A1c. So I'm going to share the results and try to explain what the numbers mean. So I'll do the best that I can. If I make mistakes, then I'll try to correct them in a future blog. But here we go. So we'll start with the cholesterol. The normal ranges. Your total cholesterol, it's measured in milligrams per deciliter of blood. So how much cholesterol in milligrams is in 1 deciliter of blood. So normal cholesterol ranges from 50 milligrams per deciliter to 200. Anything above 200 is considered high. So my cholesterol was 219 in January, which was high. And it dropped 70 points in 3 months to 149. So that's well into the normal range. That was a big drop. But like I said, I had to do with the fact that I changed my diet. And that was definitely a big difference. So I was very pleased about that. Pretty dramatic because it's only been 3 months. And it went from being high to well into the normal range. I know 7 years ago when I actually did go to the doctor, my cholesterol was like 182. So it's never been this low. All right, now we're going to talk about HDL. HDL is what we call your good cholesterol. It's high density lipids, lipid proteins. So HDL cleans up the bad cholesterol. It's almost like I call it the garbage truck. It goes into your blood and it collects a lot of the bad cholesterol. HDL generally goes, you want it to be between 40 and 60 milligrams per deciliter. Mine was too low. It was 35. It was 37, 7 years ago. So it was low. Sometimes it could be hereditary. The best way to raise your cholesterol is to exercise. There might be some food you can eat that helps, but mostly through exercise and if you take medication, and which I didn't do. So I got it up to 40. A lot of exercise I was doing really helped with that. And now it's in the normal range. A man, it should be 40 to 60. A woman, it's 50 to 70. But I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But I think that for women, it's a little higher. But 40 to 60 is the range that you want to be at. All right, now we're going to go to something called your triglycerides. Triglycerides is another like fatty acid. It's 3 fatty acids. That's why the tri means 3. Like think of a tricycle, 3 wheels. So triglycerides generally go up when you're having lots of fried foods. And believe it or not, sugars and carbs. Because sugars and carbs will eventually turn to fat if they're not burned off. So my triglycerides was at 107, which is in the normal range. You want to be between, I think 150 is borderline high, but once you get above 200, it's considered high. But I can tell you that number 107, 7 years ago, was lower than that. It was in maybe the 70s or 80s. It's gone down to 40. It went from 107 to 40. A lot of that is because I cut the carbs and the sugar. And they say a lot of diabetics, their triglycerides can be really high. So because I'm a diabetic, getting that number down to 40 is great because it's saying that not only do I have that under control, but the sugars and the carbs under control. So that was a big drop. All right, now we get to the bad cholesterol, the LDL. That's the low density lipid proteins. LDL, that you want to, it was high. You know, normal range is between 20 and 100. Mine was 163 in January. That's high. I mean, that's like, too high. Now, for a diabetic, they kind of want that number to be 70 and lower. For a person who's not diabetic, you want it under 100. Well, I got it down to 101. So it's still elevated, but almost getting to the normal range. But you want that LDL to be lower because that's the stuff that can clog up your arteries. So got it down 62 points. Feeling good about that. A lot of that, just I cut out a lot of the red meat, cut out a lot of the. I still eat fat and I still have meat, but just leaner meats, and that makes a difference. Okay, now we get to the big one, the one I was waiting for. Matter of fact, I had to go get my blood drawn again because when I had it done, the lab, they didn't do my A1c. My doctor had ordered it in the panel, but I had to go back and get my blood drawn again. But then that night, I actually got my results. So your A1c, a lot of people don't know what A1c is. The A1 is really like a diabetes screening. What it does, if you stick yourself with a glucometer and you get your finger stick and you test your blood, it'll give you a reading in milligrams per deciliter, what your blood sugar is at that particular moment. Your A1c measures how much sugar is attached to your hemoglobin, which is your red blood cells. Your red blood cells live for about 3 months, 90 days to 100 days before they turn over. So what your A1c measures is the percentage of how much sugar is attached to your hemoglobin. And when you get your A1c checked, they tell you if you want to see any change, you need to wait 3 months because it takes that much time to generally see a big change. Now you can check it every month, and you can, if you make changes, it'll go down because it takes the average of, like I said, the past 90 days. So there's ranges between 4.2 and 5.6%. That's normal range. That's a non-diabetic. Okay. If your number goes above 5.6, 5.7 to 6.4, that's what we call pre-diabetes. That means that your blood sugars are elevated. And if you don't start making changes soon, you could end up becoming diabetic. If the number gets above 6.5 and above, you are in the diabetes range and you are diagnosed with diabetes. Now, when I got my A1c checked the first time ever, it was a 6.8. And as I told you, I was I was shocked. I was in a little bit of disbelief, but I was in the diabetic range. And I started taking chromium and cinnamon and bitter melon to help, along with diet and exercise. In 3 months, my percentage went down 1 full percent, which is incredible. That's without medication. That doesn't happen often. Not for it to go down that much. They could say a significant change is, 0.5%. That's considered to be statistically significant for an A1c. So I'm out of the diabetic range and I'm in the pre-diabetes range. My goal is to get it into the normal range, and with time and if I continue to do what I'm doing, that should happen. But this was great news. To translate this, if you were to convert this to your average blood sugar, so normal blood sugar, if you are fasting, should be between 70 and 100 milligrams per deciliter, right? Your A1c takes an average. After eating 2 hours, your normal blood sugar should be under 140. Okay? So the A1c takes an average of your highs and lows. A 6.8 is equivalent to having a blood sugar of 148 milligrams per deciliter, which is high. That takes your highs and your lows into account. A 5.8, the average is 120 milligrams per deciliter. So by dropping your A1c 1%, that means your average blood sugars are down 30 milligrams per deciliter, which is, like I said, that's phenomenal change. And like I said, to get it to 5.6, I'm looking at an average of 115. So if I can drop my average another 5 milligrams per deciliter, I can get my A1c in the normal range. So that's very promising. Basically, I see the doctor tomorrow, and he's gonna talk about all this, but he said, this is great, what you're doing, your numbers looking great. And my weight, it was 232, January 25th. It is 196.8. I'm down to a 36 waist. So I'm almost at my goal waist, which is 34. So it's been a great start. And I remind myself this is a journey because, today, I woke up and I was just kind of tired. I was a little exhausted, emotionally and a little physically. And I was talking to my wife and my mom, and they said, you're working out every day. You need to take a break once in a while because there's a lifestyle change. And all of us are going to hit a wall. Sometimes you're on this journey and you've been doing great with your diet, but you just have a day where you're like, man, I want to have that burger. I want to have those French fries. I want to have that dessert. And food wise, I've been pretty steady. I mean, I've gone out to eat. I've had stuff. I haven't had any major desserts though. Haven't had French fries or steak, but I've gone to Montreal and I had food out. I've gone out and had stuff, but I've made better choices. But sometimes you hit a wall, and the thing about a lifestyle change is you're gonna have stuff once in a while. You're gonna not work out some days. You're gonna feel tired. You're gonna feel, oh, I need to do something to break the monotony of the same old stuff in the routine, and that's okay. You have to allow yourself times where you just rest. I have to tell myself that because I've been on this mission to get things under control. And I have things under control. But I know myself, and I have to remind myself that you got to take it easy. Because if you don't take it easy and you push too hard, you can hurt yourself. And that's the lifestyle. This is not a diet. You're going to have your moments where, like I said, workout may not be the best, or you just like, hey, I can't work out today. And sometimes you need to do that. But the main thing is if you're consistent with what you're doing, that's the goal, to be consistent and balanced. And doing what works for you, like if you can do it 95% of the time and keep it, then it works. And make small changes, then you'll be all right. But it's not always going to be, flowers and roses. There's still things to work on. I still got to get my LDL down. A1c is looking great, but still want to bring that down a little bit more. My weight is doing great, but still have some work to do. Still have to lose a few more pounds, another 25 pounds or so, to get to, I think, a healthier place. But it's a process, and then once you get to reach your goals, then it's about maintaining it. And maintenance means sometimes you're gonna have stuff, you're gonna go up, but you come back down. You find that balance, but keep encouraging yourself. Make sure you have people in your life that are giving you the support, but also tell yourself that you're doing a good job. And I have to admit that I am hard on myself, and sometimes I don't give myself enough credit for the things that I've accomplished. Some of it's because I'm afraid of falling off or being complacent or, getting too comfortable. But I know more now, and I know what I need to do. I know I can't fall off the wagon too far, because if I do, all those numbers are going to go back up into a danger zone, and can't allow that to happen. But at the same time, sometimes when you need a break, take a break. And I'm going to take my own advice. I did a little walking today, but I'm not going to push it. I was going to work out, tonight and do my little late night. Sometimes I do workouts at 9 o'clock and do my sit-up. But I'm saying, you know what? Let me just rest today. Work out tomorrow. See the doctor. And let's go from there and just keep moving. So I'm glad I got to share my numbers with you. This is a longer blog because there was a lot to share. But just remember to take care of yourself emotionally and physically, spiritually. And congratulate yourself when you've done a job well done. it's been pretty incredible uh, that I've been able to turn this thing around in such a short time. And I have a lot of people to thank for that. First, I'm going to thank God for reminding me that anything's possible through Him. Nothing's impossible. Two, my mom for, like I said, staying on me all those years to go to the doctor and reminding me of what's important, keeping your eyes on the prize and finding that balance. My wife for being my partner, my study partner. She's like losing weight and she's on this journey with me and we're doing this together and being encouraging and reminding me, hey, don't push too hard. Make sure you take a break. And all my colleagues and my friends who have been so supportive and saying, oh, you're doing a great job, or you lost so much weight and you look great, and it's been nice to hear, and I appreciate all that, and it means a lot. And like I said, it's been great. The journey continues. Like I said, I want to encourage you to keep going on your journey and enjoy it. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.